Hello and welcome to Third Strike Primer for Oro. Now, here's his move list. As you can see, he has kind of a hybrid style. He has a mix of charge moves and just normal moves, or normal special moves. And he has quite a bit of supers, and that is because he has an EX quote-unquote version of each super. If he has multiple supers, like let's say number 2, he has 3 stocks of that super. If he uses the EX version, it uses all 3 supers as opposed to just one when you supering normally. So keep that in mind. But today we will be focusing on Tengu Stone, which is the 3rd super that Oro has, because it is honestly his most versatile one, and it's one of his best ones. So that's that. Alright, so he has jab. It's okay, it's not really as quick as the other character's jab. You mostly default to his short, which all versions close are very strong, and we'll get into how he uses it in his gameplay later in this video. Someone mentioned that I didn't cover how to use certain normals for another character. I'm just, this is just me, kind of doing each of the characters that I know the best of my ability. These are, my opinions and all that. And if I forget something, I either just forgot it or I don't know. So, again, I know a lot of characters. I don't know every character to the master level though. So, just keep that in mind. Okay, so that was his short. His jab, again, not that fantastic. His medium punch from far distance is that. It's not really that great for what it is there. His forward medium punch actually does a good amount of stun. Covers a lot of range, the most range actually of all his normals, and you would use this if you were counter poking a long, laggy move that they threw out, and this is the only thing that you have to actually hit him because of the distance. All the other moves are with. So he has a standing pierce, which is actually an overhead. It's kind of slow, but does okay damage. It's 2 hits. It should still be used into his mix-up game. He has this crouching fierce, which is this. It can be canceled into super and stuff like that. Sometimes it's okay as a counter poke, but because of you have to be crouching, and it kind of stays out there for a long time and doesn't let Oro start moving quickly. Not that great because the hitbox on his crouching fierce doesn't cover the lower part of it, so he's susceptible to low forwards and stuff like that. So he covered his short, which we'll get into later. His standing forward, which is probably his best poke as far as just moving around and being as far as it being safe and hard to punish. Very quick, good range. He kind of, as you see, the only part down there would be to hit his little foot right there. And it's quick, jumps up a little bit, pretty good against low forwards, which are, typically the other character's best poking ability when you're playing footsie games like this. Standing roundhouse, very strong standing roundhouse. Good damage, good stun, also good range, a little, a tad bit shorter than his crouching or standing medium. His crouching medium kick is that. It can be comboed into grabs. It can be cancelled into fireball. That doesn't combo. It is a string. So keep that in mind. His sweep is a generic sweep, but of course, like most sweeps in Third Strike, they are punishable, so remember that. He has a chain, which is standing light, standing medium kick, standing light kick, standing medium kick. Oro's standing medium punch, when he's close, is 2-hit launch like that. Now, the first hit can be cancelled into jump, into special, almost any of his moves, and this is an integral part of Oral's game. And as you can see, he also has a double jump. We're gonna get more into all of this later. I just want to point this out so when I explain how to use it later, it won't be like, whoa, what was that? Let's talk about Oral's throw. Oral is kind of unique in the sense that he doesn't have a forward throw. If you throw him neutral or forward, he does this and bounces behind them. If you throw him backwards, he throws them behind him. So he always ends up on the other side of the character no matter which way you throw. Another bad part about Oral's throw is that if the other person counter mashes that neutral throw or forward throw the second they get thrown, they will bounce out in one hit. So you really never want to do this throw ever, unless it's for some kind of weird setup. But Oral's back throw can be carried with standing roundhouse. So you just hold back, and standing roundhouse, or back and crouching medium. Oh, I'm sorry, standing medium. If you do roundhouse, you can hear him go where? I can't. So you always basically want a back throw with Oral. Good damage, and it sets up a good, see how he can just super jump and land right next to the character after that. So he's not totally screwed after he gets a back throw. You know, most characters you never want a back throw unless it's going to be throwing them into the corner. You know, I think a big part of Oro being, you know, middle of mid-tier is that he doesn't have a forward throw. So if he's pressuring someone in the corner, he can't throw someone in the corner, or else they'll bounce out and he has to jump over and he loses his wake-up pressure. Let's talk about his special moves. He has a fireball, which is a charge, and he's kind of like Rain, where he has the different angles, except the EX seeks. So if Ryu were to jump, it would track him. Now it is very slow, so it doesn't always track perfectly, so people are able to jump that, but sometimes that does not work in their favor either, as I usually find out the hard way. He has the little chicken move right here. He can do it in the air too. So that, again, Oro uses this in the air a lot with something like this. Right before he hits the ground, he can throw that out. And people, right when Oro is right there, it's really weird to stop your momentum right before you hit the ground. So people are usually trying to parry or throw or pressing something. Oro will hit that and go into his ordinary combo like that. We'll get more into that combo later. He has his uppercut, which, to be honest, like, it's not really used outside combos unless there's the EX has good startup, good damage, and is hard to stop on his wake up. It's a good wake up when it hits. If it doesn't hit, you are totally boned. I would not use this move very often, mainly because Oro is much more of a threat with his meter, and it's such kind of a low payoff using that meter to just get them off of Oro. Like I said again, because of his super is so potent. He has his command grab, which can be blocked. So it's the command grab on hit only, and it does that. You combo it from low forward. There's a craft with a sun though. It can be carried with standing medium. If you can see him step forward like that. Not many like practical uses unless you're trying to be a baller and like you parry a long distance move you want to punish, you know, something like that. And So the chicken on the ground can be used for a few things now. You know, when you knock them down and they get up, like you can try to like mix them up like that, but to be honest, you should never really do that unless you are trying to throw them off and kind of like going wild as far as you know, you feel that they're nervous and they're you know, you can fluster them. Oral is one of those characters that definitely, you know, if you have a knack or you can understand how to make someone flustered, you should do it, because it is very annoying in the first place to fight Oral, and then when you start adding like one of these once in a blue moon, it's definitely a big pain in the ass. You can use it as kind of a quick overhead on their wake up also. So let me just touch on a few things quickly before we move on, before I forget. Oral's dash is pretty good. Forward is pretty good. His dash back is even better though. I mean, again, it's not that far, but it's very quick, and he moves to the end of his dash very fast. So he has a great back dash. A very good forward dash actually too. Oral, as the anti-airs, a lot of times when a player jumps in, he dashes, does his medium punch. Oral has an air grab, but pretty sick one at that. I think one of the most damaging air grab in the game, more than Ibuki's even, I believe. He has an air grab in his #1 super when it's activated also. Just a quick side note, for anti-airing with Oro, you know, if they're jumping in and they're falling at where that distance is, where Ryu is, you can use something like a standing roundhouse, or possibly a crouching Pierce, because of how low he gets. You know, when you're jumping in, you can do air-to-air stuff. But typically, I don't see many Oral players do this, but some do. I like, if they're jumping in and they're going to land close to you, like in front of you right there, I like to dash under and start my combo. So if they're jumping in, you can do something like that. As far as neutral air normals, the only one I like is Roundhouse. But his angled normals, Roundhouse is good. Fierce has 2 hits. In the air, it's only really going to hit if they parry. And the second hit's only going to hit if they parry. On the ground, you can get it to hit when you're jumping in, but not really his best jumping move unless you're against a big character or someone that likes to parry a lot when you're jumping in. Typically, you want to jump in with Roundhouse or medium kick that crosses over. Medium punch is used in some applications, especially when the other character's right there and maybe they're above them and gonna try to come up and jump or something like that and hit you. So of course there's little situational stuff like that. But other than that, those other moves are what you kind of want to stick to. Okay, so this is Oral's typical like bread and butter combo that you're gonna want to learn if you're gonna learn Oral. So, like I said in the beginning, his standing medium punch when it's close is 2 hits, but the first hit, before the second hit comes, you can cancel it. So, most characters, and this is the general one, there's going to be character specific combos again, so you know you're going to have to look towards specialists videos towards Oral for that. But let me give you the generic one, and then you guys can go from there. So, you would do the medium punch, first hit into the medium kick, chicken. Now the key to hitting this is hitting the character as they're falling close to the ground. I'm going to do it early here. And you can see that the chicken does not hit. I'm going to do it late. Too late. Okay. In cases like this, you know, the easiest option is roundhousing. But if you have meter, So that standing medium punch into walk forward, first hit standing medium punch, cancel super is only going to work if the second standing medium punch first hit hits. If you do it off the second hit and cancel, he goes into a non-juggable state. So do not hit him with the second hit him with the first hit. It's tough, but just letting you know it's out there. He has his other combos off of medium punch. That's my personal just go-to one. And just a side note, just because I don't really main these characters, but I know how to play most of these characters pretty well, you know, the information that I'm remembering doesn't come all back in order, unfortunately. So if I remember something midway and I put it out of place, I am so sorry, but the information hopefully will be there. So let's get into Oro's general gameplay and see how we start hitting his normals and his combos and his, you know, a little bit of his mix-ups. So Oro is great at poking and zoning and holding his ground while he's building meter. And with Oro, he has a lot of tricks and pretty good damage outside of his combos and in his combos, but doesn't have like a bunch of ways to land all these combos. So basically he'll land 1-2 combos a match and he'll do massive damage off those combos. Typically because hopefully with him holding his ground and zoning and playing this game of jumping around, antagonizing, and you know, hopefully hitting the other character, building meter, and not taking too much damage himself, he will build a super. Now his super is very strong. We're talking about number 3. His other supers are pretty strong too. Probably the worst one's number 1. Second best is number 2, the booger one. But in certain matchups, that one is better than number 3. But overall, number 3 can be used in all matchup and is his most versatile super. So let's look at it real quick. The normal version does 3 rocks and it drains the bar like that, makes his hits 3 hits, and you know, he's pretty much, as far as normals and stuff like that, pretty much God mode. You're not going to be like parrying his normals because there's going to be 3 hits off of every normal, and he recovers before those rocks end up finishing hitting the other opponent, so you can't really punish either. The only way you're going to be able to get him off of you when he's doing something like that is if he mistimes the normal in his spacing and you like uppercut through it or something like that. This version does 5 and juggles, unlike the 3 rock version of it. And I'm messing up there, but you can see that this juggles. That was a lame juggle, but you can see. Now let me put Ryu on block real quick. A lot of times Oro will get a throw in the corner, activate his Tengu Stone level 3, and just start doing this. And mixing up overheads and stuff like that. Now, because this is training mode, the health was trying to regen, and the dummy blocked everything, even when I mixed up the overheads. That's typically not going to happen for a lot of characters, and because the level 3 lasts, or level 1 super lasts so long, look how long this takes to drain out. I mean, that is like a long time to be stuck in the corner, taking chip damage and any other kind of random damage that he mixes you up with, while you have to block it all. If you do it right, they do have to block it all. You know, that can happen off of just a back throw that Oro throws you into the corner, or he knocks you down and activates it. He can do, you know, maybe that fireball hit and then he came in with it. Or if he's a bigger, if he's against a less mobile character, you know, stuff like that will work too, because it's easier for him to move in on. So Oral's air game is pretty unique. He has a double jump, which also, of course, adds to his uniqueness in the air and coming in and attacking, and he has air moves and air throws. So he's an oddball in the air, and an oddball in a good way. So like I said, Oral has a few jump-ins that you want to mess with. He has jump-in rounds, which is his generic just beefy like jump-in like combo attack. And then he has jump-in medium kick, which can cross over like that. So off of a jump-in roundhouse, you can do something like this. Or you can do something like this. You can see both did good damage and good stun. He even can do combos like... I wouldn't recommend that one though. Now off of the jumping forward crossover, the jumping medium kick crossover. So he crosses over and he's in this position. So Oral has a few things at his disposal. Typically Oral will jump over, throw you, jump over, tick you, or jump over and do that. Now, none of those combo, but he is, you know, pretty positive. I mean, he's like, I don't know frames, okay? I'm going to tell you this over and over again. But he has enough time to put this guy on block stun or hit stun, and then he will be able to act before the other person does. So that's why if the other person presses a button or throws too late or something like this will work. Or if they down parry or do something like that, that will work. If they block, of course, that will work. If they block and you do that, that's fine, because they're going to block and then you're right there again and you are still in throw range. And you're still in this their throw range and your throw range, and then at this part, you know, you start going like this and then doing your normals after to put them on block stun because they think you're going to throw next, so you can hit them like that. You know, jump over, kick them, you know, fake the throw, roundhouse, something like that. Some players go like this with the mix-up because they're so afraid of Oral's really good back throw. And remember, since Oral has that back throw, he can throw you in the corner from mid-screen even, obviously, and start that really obnoxious, kind of cheesy Tengu Stone corner chip with a 3. If he isn't landing the combo, he can do that. Again, off of the back throw, you have access to your double jump to set up that chicken. So if they quick it up or not, you have to time it correctly. But you can see that the double jump, whether they quick rise or not. Or another thing, after doing your jump over medium kick into the jab, or I'm sorry, standing short. A lot of players, because you typically have the advantage there, and you're gonna try to set them up for a mix-up. They might press it like their best, you know, quick poke or normal in front of you. So that's a time where Oral can mix up a parry in between his next mix-up, because it's a typical time that players poke things out after Oral does this. And then he gets to move into his next setup. So it would be something like crossover, jab, down parry, like something like that, you know. As you can see, Oral kind of has a lot of good poke strings. You know, none of those comboed, but all of those were within range. You know, stuff like that. You know, he jumps around, does stuff like that. So let's say you jumped in, you get a little poke string, and you're right here at this position. You're right here. You're in prime position for your pokes. as you can see, you're so close that even the character's natural movement of just the neutral state of the movie will cause them to get hit sometimes. That's how close in such a prime position you are for your normals. After your chains or whatever your little mix-up was. You're in great position for your normals. Now, another thing you're in great position for is controlling the air. They try to jump out, you quickly beat them with medium punch or roundhouse or throw. You know, while you're throwing your normals out and stuff like that, you have a charge. You can keep the charge the whole time. So I think that's an edge that Oro has over Urian as far as the air fireball game, because he can, if he sees someone jump, he can more quickly react because it's a charge move and not a promotion move. So, you know, the big thing about being able to do that is that off of air fireballs, up fireballs, that Oro can actually turn into super, into whatever he wants. So, you know, let's say they jumped out. Now, typically they would be jumping forward, but it would work the same way. You know, and then if it was the 3-1, you could start mixing up into your little high-low block string. And see, off of air fireball, you can cancel into super. You can even do a much better combo than that, but I'm just demonstrating right here. So yeah. That's your air-to-air and air options when they're jumping in. Also, I should quickly state that sometimes Oro uses standing light as an anti-air. It's just kind of a bizarre little move, and especially using Tengu Stone, standing light is your go-to move. Let's go. There's that option. There's also this option. Let's go. I'd also like to add that because Oro does this a lot, he has the mix-up of jumping in with nothing and going low. Along with all his other, you know, normal jumpings, crossovers, and jumping around. But because they're doing this and they have to block this high, a lot of times players start to block high longer than normal. So that gives Oro an opportunity to do stuff like that, because they're used to him jumping in and doing that. But they have to block high, and of course something like that they want to block low. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I guess that's Oro. There's a lot of good Oro players out there, but I have the privilege to play a guy named Red Venom. He's the best Oro player I've played against, and he's one of the hardest persons for me to beat. It might be matchup, but I doubt that because he's a very strong player in general. There's plenty of his videos of him playing Oro on my channel. I'll probably link some in the description, but yeah, that's about it. I will see you guys later.